Nigeria's Presidential Election Petition Tribunal is set to deliver judgment on Wednesday, September 6th, that is today, in a legal tussle that commenced in June shortly after President Bola Tinubu took his oath of office. Nnaemeka sampled the views of residents of Lagos and brought back this report.
Bola Ahmed
In early March, Bola Ahmed Tinubu of the All Progressives Congress was pronounced winner of the Nigeria's presidential contest despite a court battle on fraud claims made by his two main opponents, Atiku Abubakar of the People's Democratic Party and Peter Obi of the Labour Party. After a duration of over 3 months, a presidential election petition tribunal is set to announce its verdict on September 6th. New Central crew took to the streets of Lagos, located in southwest region of the country, and sampled the mood of a cross-section.
You can see the rancor already going on, and it's about the major news that are making the headlines here, moving from the NLC strike that has been suspended to the presidential tribunal, the result that people are expecting to come out on Wednesday. And I'm here with Lucky. Lucky, so far, what has been your own assessment of what this tribunal has done?
You see, for me, the first day they started this assessing the materials, when we're expecting that at least they are going to show the whole world for us to see how I voted and you voted. And the judge said they are not going to show you live. They don't even allow the press. So tell you that something is wrong somewhere. And I didn't believe in judiciary in Nigeria because several past statements make that we don't trust our judiciary. They are afraid to deliver judgment.
Whatever things have been sent into their private mailbox, they should go in and tell the whole world this is nothing but the truth. So we are expecting nothing but the truth from the entire judges.
Well, whatever results that comes out tomorrow is not supreme. So we expect the litigation to extend to the Supreme Court. However, I believe tomorrow should favor the incumbents.
Presidents already been installed. What want to hear again? Okay, what to hear? We want to let them be uprising.
While some have urged for calm before, during and after the verdict, others felt otherwise.
They have taken us for granted for a very long time. But if Nigerian youth could wake up, as I am, let me tell you, tomorrow, as they give narratives that nobody should near the court premises, many people are going there. They've told them everybody should stay indoors, and the DSS are going to be on the streets. There won't be any rancor. They will announce, and anybody that the judgment does not favor, it should go to Supreme Court.
Irrespective of who wins, there will be generally peace. Everywhere will be peaceful. Because the government who might have emphasized that there might be breakdown of law and order. By so doing, I know they'll be proactive.
Since Nigeria's return to democracy in 1999, every presidential election result has been challenged by aggrieved candidate, except for the 2015 poll, in which the then incumbent Goodluck Jonathan conceded defeat to Muhammadu Buhari. However, it is a matter of hours as Nigerians await the Presidential Tribunal judgment. Nnaemeka, reporting for News Central Lagos.
Welcome back to Breakfast Central. That, of course, is the reaction of Nigerians to the tribunal results, judgments that will be released today. Upon inauguration on May 29, 2023, President Tinubu vowed to revamp the economy with his renewed hope slogan when he announced the end of fuel subsidy. Here's what he said.
No provision is there for fuel subsidy. The fuel subsidy is gone.
But the ripple effects of his economic policies have left Nigerians a sweet and sour taste. This morning, we're joined by Nnaemeka Obiaraeri. He's an economist and financial analyst, and he joins us to look at some of the economic policies of the Tinubu-led administration, ranging from the fuel subsidy removal, the 5 billion naira palliatives to states, the controversial 8,000 naira to vulnerable Nigerians, and most recently, talks about Nigeria proposing to join the G20. And of course, the president is currently in India for this. Thank you so much for joining us, sir.
Thanks for having me.
All right, so let's get into the conversation. Your thoughts on the economy so far. First of all, today marks first 100 days in office, and we had gone to the streets to ask Nigerians what they thought about it. We'd like your overview, a general overview of what President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's first 100 days in office looks like for you.
First 100 days summarized as 100 days of blustering, full of promises and policy pronouncements that looked lofty just on the pronouncement level, but the actions of the government are actually opposite of what their pronouncements, looked like. And I will be specific. Nigeria is not the only country that have passed through this phase. Historically, there are several countries that have been at this position and they later transformed. Egypt was at a position when Sisi became the president. And the Sisi embarked on massive reforms that we are seeing the result today in the life of the average Egyptian. Egypt is the only country in the whole of Africa, outside South Africa, that have 100% electrification and power across communities and villages. There is no, the power to every Egyptian is 100%. There is no part of Egypt that is not electrified. Sisi embarked on audacious trans-sector reforms and revival. And of course, before he went on that reform spree, Sisi had to embark on institutional reform. Cost of governance was cut by over 50%. He led by example. Basically, what we have seen this government do is just preach, pronounce policies without the requisite institutional reforms that will have supported it to achieve results for the average Nigerian. Poverty has grown over time. The lives of the average Nigerian over the last 100 days had actually been more brutish, had actually been more painful than it was under the Buhari forgotten years of plagues. And fuel subsidy removal, very, very good. We've done the numbers here, and I've been to your studio several times to try to enlighten Nigerians on the benefit of fuel subsidy removal. If fuel subsidy removal was backed up by massive institutional reforms and transparency and cutting cost of governance, Nigeria will comfortably save or earn extra 18 trillion naira into our national treasury. But the reverse is the case. The cost of governance is still high. Somebody like the senior president, Akpabio, still runs around with 28 vehicles. I heard that they purchased new bulletproof vehicles that run into 20 billions of naira. The national presidential fleet is still at the normal level it was. One would have expected a sensitive presidency to have reduced that national presidential fleet from 10 or 11 to about 2 or 3. Nigeria, Canada economy is 3 times bigger than Nigeria. British economy is almost 5 times bigger than Nigeria. British Prime Minister does not have fleet of prime ministership fleet of about 11 vehicles, aircrafts. The leader of Canada, Justin Trudeau, does not have up to 11 presidential jets attached to him. That is the kind of wastages that will have been stopped. So basically, there is nothing that this government said that they backed up with the right institutional reform. Corruption that we thought was the monster destroying Nigeria, would have expected them to have tackled corruption headlong. Nothing has been done. In fact, it has actually transmuted into another phase. So it's been 100 days of roller coaster. The word palliative is sickening. Like I said to anybody who cares to listen, the average Nigerian is not lazy. The average Nigerian with his limbs and sides intact can comfortably make at least 5,000 naira from the artisan on the street, the average vulcanizer, the average mechanic, the average bricklayer, the average carpenter, the average furniture maker can comfortably make 5,000 naira per day if the requisite policy security measures are put in place to allow him to go out there and work 24/7 without molestations. Imagine and close your eyes and imagine where the average Nigerian, I'm not talking about those in the middle and the higher class, the average Nigerian, 110 million working population, makes average of say 5,000 naira every day, or even 4,000, even 2,000. Look at the kind of revenue that will come into our GDP per annum. But the problem we have is that we have a very stifling fiscal, structural, insecurity environment that have refused the Nigerians to, explore and unleash their latent potentials. The farmers cannot go to farm because insecurity has even redoubled since this government came to power. We will have expected massive security architecture transformation. We will have expected massive shift, taking security back to the communal level, to the local government level, just like we had it between 1960 to 1966. Basically, what we have seen over the last 100 years are just lofty policy pronouncements, huffing and puffing and blustering here and there, without any concrete step to address the fundamental and foundational issues which have brought us to where we are today. And if care is not taken, I'm not a prophet, I don't claim to be a prophet. I am an economist and investment banker who looks at the variables, the fundamentals, and then predict accurately what will happen. I said it 3 months ago. Naira and dollar will be where it is today if we do nothing on the supply side, and it has happened. And I tell us, if we don't retrace our steps, by this time next year, dollar will be selling for almost about 1,250 naira.
Yeah, I want to ask if you do you think it might be too early to judge, because the government, came into office and of course needs to set up its cabinet, needs to set up, the ministers, the security chiefs, which have been changed now. Of course, EFCC chairman, of course, was also removed. The CBN governor was removed. So, would you say it's maybe too early to judge, the pace of growth? Because you've said that you expected that when they come in, they should immediately, get to work. And of course, the president in the campaign said it was going to hit the ground running. So, do you think that it's possible to hit the ground running that fast without at least getting your cabinet in position? Then, of course, the work then starts. So, are we maybe judging too early?
It's not too early. I take you back to 1999 when Obasanjo became president. Nigeria was even at a worse state than where we are, or where we were on May 29, 2023. Obasanjo took over presidency at a time Nigeria was a pariah nation. Nigeria was kicked out of the Commonwealth, out of the world community. But because of Abacha, a lot of sanctions were placed upon Nigeria. Foreign reserve then was about $5 billion, and out of that $5 billion, $3.2 billion was almost in Cuba. Crude oil then was selling for $17.33 per barrel, and the output then was about 1.6 million barrels a day. Nigeria was totally decapitated. Nigeria was in disarray. We knew what Abacha did. He siphoned most of our funds out. Obasanjo did not waste time. Within 6 days, remember, Obasanjo came out of prison. It wasn't as if Obasanjo was, out there campaigning, out there. He had people that he had already, political associates. Obasanjo didn't have much of that. Obasanjo immediately sat down, penciled down some of the best hands Nigeria has ever seen since the advent of this democracy in 1999. People like Okonjo Iweala, Itaminu Yakubu, many of them, Obiaraeri, they came together 6 days, and Obasanjo went about preaching to the world, trying to bring investors to come to Nigeria. Many people mocked him that he was rocketing around the whole world. The first 100 days of Obasanjo was so impactful that the whole world felt it. And at the end of the day, Obasanjo left behind from a debt overhang of $32 billion that was unserviceable. Obasanjo cleaned it up and left behind a foreign reserve of $47 billion. A very transformed economy and a middle class of about 4 million people. Before Obasanjo left the presidency, most Nigerians, I knew many Nigerians that came back from JP Morgan Chase. I'm a banker. Many of them came back to come and be part of the transformation of Nigeria. And most of them left in 2016. I spoke with one of them the other day. The guy is managing a portfolio of a hedge fund of almost about $60 billion. And the guy said he's not even looking at Nigeria. He's investing into Brazil. He's investing into Chile. A Nigerian who came back under Obasanjo to effect a transformation, to join a nation building, walked out of Nigeria in 2016 because of the same kind of thing that we are experiencing under this APC Kankawan government that have continued. Now, Yar'Adua, what of Yar'Adua? Yar'Adua came into power. in an election that was flawed. What did Yar'Adua do? Yar'Adua was very sensitive. He wasn't sensitive. He didn't tell everybody move on. Yar'Adua, first of all, categorically condemned that election as very flawed. And what did Yar'Adua do to boost the confidence of Nigerians? Yar'Adua declared rule of law. As a show of good faith, Yar'Adua declared his assets and liabilities and that of Torai, his wife, and his family openly and published it on every national newspaper. 850 something million naira. He declared everything, what he owned and what he owed, where they are, without any ambiguity. Yar'Adua severed himself from all those who helped to lead him to power. And instituted the OYS report that was supposed to have brought about electoral reform. And that was one of the worst things Jonathan did. Jonathan abandoned that report, which if Jonathan had implemented that OYS report, he wouldn't have been rigged that in 2015, even as a sitting president. Yar'Adua, everybody felt Yar'Adua's impact. And when Yar'Adua died, the whole nation mourned him. So we are not talking about things that happened decades too far in the past. We're talking about what we experienced in 1999 and what we experienced in 2007.
All right, so Mr.
The idea of what we have, this idea of what, see, 100 days, if I am the president or when I'm the president, the first thing I will do when I become president is, first of all, declare my assets and liabilities publicly. And there's nobody who will join my cabinet that will not do the same.
Well, that's not been done.
I will do an executive bill amending the CCD Act in such a way that it becomes compulsory that any public office holder must declare his assets and liabilities publicly.
Right.
And there will be a act of 20 that will say, if Nigerians help to blow whistle, you will get 20% of what is recovered.
Unfortunately, that's not the current situation right now with the administration that we have. And even when we talk about our ministers, we don't even know how much they're earning. You know, a lot of this is shrouded in secrecy. We're running out of time, Mr. Obiaraeri, but I want you to talk about the current administration and the expectations for the Presidential Election Petition Tribunal. We are getting the judgment today. There's been several reactions around the country. What are your expectations for how things will turn out?
Olive, I will tell you from the depth of my heart, I have no confidence in the judiciary. And I will give you two reasons. For Akpabio to be in the Senate and be Senate President, for Lawan to be in the Senate against the clear provisions of the Electoral Act, they contested for the presidency, the presidential primaries of APC. That automatically, even me that is not a judge, automatically, there's no technicalities that will have taken them to the Senate. They are in the Senate, thanks to the judiciary. So, it will only take a miracle for anything. See, I have no confidence. I can tell you, I have no confidence in the judiciary. Olisabakoba, who was the former NBA president, stated the same thing. I have zero confidence in the institutions of the judiciary in Nigeria.
Well, we just have to wait, and in a few hours we'll find out what the judiciary thinks and how the people of Nigeria feel, whether they hold the same position as you or a different position. Thank you, Mr. Obiaraeri, for joining us this morning.
Thanks for having me.